listening to a boxing monologue, I'd imagine that's pretty.
Watch boxing, study the sport.
So both of them are on. You can, my bad, bro. I
You good,
apologize.
you good.
All right. So whatever works for you, right? What I tell people, cameras rolling, by the way. Everything content, you know. But well, you ain't gonna be wearing a hat, but keep the mic close to your mouth. You can put it anywhere you want.
Gotcha.
What I recommend is putting it close to your mouth, like clipping it on your shirt. That way they can hear you. You go ahead and get this on, and then you can go ahead and get started. Get the other camera rolling. I like to use two cameras, different angles. The parts are going to be posted by the phone, but when the full video interview is posted, it's going to be camera quality. So
That'll work.
try to take my craft as seriously as I can.
How long you been doing it?
Well, interviewing or content creating?
Both.
So interviewing, believe it or not, I just started. But content creating, I've been doing that for 3-4 years. I just took my talents to YouTube.
Yeah.
So first off, I started with what was in my realm, which was powerlifting. I interviewed people who competed, got on the stage, all that other stuff. But one of the things about powerlifting, right, there were a couple of people that were martial artists in the powerlifting realm. So I said, all right, let me talk to a couple of martial artists. But and then we are going to start. Where you at? Come on, where you at, you motherfucker, you. We rolling. All right, cool, we can start. So interviewing, content creating on YouTube, I've been doing. November will make. Let me make sure we're in the. All right, cool. I gotta be a little.
Yeah.
But I've been. Let me rewind it.
Yeah.
Anxiety's getting to me. Before I continue with everybody, one, Mr. Reese, thank you for coming to my channel. This is how I always do my openings. At the end of the day, you're giving me your time.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand the concept of time and how important it is. So whether it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, just thank you for bringing your story, your hobbies, your likes to this channel. So, and bringing it full circle to what you asked. So the reason why I started, I have a lot of influences, right, in the fitness realm. I have a huge love for powerlifting. I've been powerlifters, bodybuilders, strongman, Olympic lifters, cosplayers, martial artists, and big shout out to Coach Antonio, greatest coaches here in Fayetteville, North Carolina at World's Gym. He put me on game with you guys. So I learned in his interview, he's just an all-around martial artist, but his base, his core, is a boxer. So I've already interviewed Busy, Kosha. I hope I didn't butcher her name. Now it's you. But just bringing it full circle. The reason why I wanted to start doing this is because this is real, not give or take, but not like the high-end models you see on Instagram who 9 times out of 10 they probably lying about their lifestyle and shit like that. But I wanted to make my channel something really, really generic. And again, I brought some well, everybody in my eyes are phenomenal, but I brought some really not only phenomenal people, but down to earth people.
Right.
Wake up every day, whether it's a 9 to 5 or, you know, 04, 05, whatever, doing the average shit, and they're doing the same thing these fitness models are doing, or I wanted to bring something generic to my channel,
right,
and this is as generic as it gets. But other than that, so here's what I do, right? I'll set the clock. I typically start with 15 minutes. Every time the ringer goes off, I ask like, hey, can we continue? I know we're on a time hack, so in this case, I'll set the clock for 30.
That'll work.
And then after that, timer starting now. So with that being said, Mr. Reese, please introduce. Oh, you can look at me the whole time. Yeah. Whatever makes you comfortable. Yeah. You can look at the camera, me, or whatever. But please introduce yourself. Last little tidbit about me, because I know in your interview I've been rambling, but I don't have like well, I do, but towards the end, I don't have like questionnaires. I go off flow and energy. Right. I think of questions based on the story that you tell, and I go from there. But how I started is, hey, please introduce yourself, and then I just start from there.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on? My name is Maurice Mitchell, but everybody calls me Reese, or in the boxing world, Pressure. Been in Fayetteville. I'm actually stationed here, so I've been here about 15 years.
Brag.
Yeah. Oh,
God
yeah,
bless
yeah.
you. Anyway,
Oh,
yeah.
You know, and I've been a boxer now for a few years. I'm a pro. Been rocking with Coach Antonio for a few years as well. Phenomenal coach. And yeah, man, I got a fight coming up in 2 weeks. It'll be in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And I have another fight coming up here in Fayetteville. My first time fighting in Fayetteville, even though I've been here for years. That takes place October 26th. So it's cool. You know, as a matter of fact, I just finished training, so we're locked.
Tired?
Yeah, we're locked in. I'm good. I'm a night person anyway. So we're locked in for the fight coming up in 2 weeks. It's not a drastic weight cut, thank God. And then we're just working on the game plan for the fight next month in October. So I'm pretty excited.
So typically, like what I'll do is I'll start with people's fitness journey, and then I'll move. So fitness journey is you know that the macaroni and cheese or the vegetables, the meat and potatoes, boxing. So for you and your fitness journey, where did it start? Did you like play in any sports? Did it start when you joined the military? Like when your fitness, where did your fitness journey start?
So funny, my mother, father were athletes. So started. I played football when I was younger. Ran track. I did karate for a little bit.
Okay.
I didn't like it at all. But yeah, my ADD. It's rigid and very controlled, not very free flowing. That's why I like boxing. Boxing is very free flowing. And then I got into boxing. Joe Frazier's boxing gym in Philadelphia. I'm from right outside of Philly. So I got into it because where I'm from, they were starting to form gangs.
Okay.
So
Philly? Okay, okay.
So I was kind of a loner. You know what I'm saying? I was like, well, if I'm gonna get jumped, then I at least want to be able to take out one or two.
Defend yourself.
Exactly.
Okay.
So then started boxing, and then I joined the Army, and then I got away from it for a few years, and when I was deployed, got back into it. A friend of mine set up these bum fights when we were deployed. It was nuts.
Gotcha.
I started doing that, and then I came back. I started rocking with Coach Khalil, another phenomenal coach in the Fayetteville area.
Okay.
My guy. We talk boxing to include life, same thing. Like Coach Antonio was like my therapist, honestly. Like
the mental aspect of it all.
Oh yeah, and and also personal too. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the individuals that I can actually confide in.
Big shout out.
Great guy, man. Great guy. Great and a phenomenal program as well. And then I joined the Army. Then deployed. Came back from deployment. Then I got into boxing. I boxed amateur. Up and down the East Coast when I would PCS to different locations, and now I came back here, and then I started training at Tony Burgess Boxing Gym in Spring Lake.
Burgess?
Burgess. It's Burgess.
Okay.
Burgess, yeah.
I've heard good things about it. Allow me to touch on this real quick before we continue. So I always ask since you have a sports background and karate, like did that kind of like contribute to your attitude in the realm of boxing, like what you were introduced in the realm of football? Because it's an athletic sport.
Yeah. So
like did that, the training regime in football and the training regime in karate, did that kind of contribute to what you do in the ring or? So
karate, I only did it for a little while. I went to a tournament. I got kicked in the stomach twice. Did not like it. And I was like, this ain't for me. But as far as like, I love boxing because when I'm a loner for the most part, and I like to rely on me. It was hard playing football where I have to rely on 10 other guys, team of like 30, depending upon how many people you have, that they have to do their part. And with
if
me,
they don't, the game's
exactly. And that's why boxing is me, my coach, you know what I'm saying, and we develop a game plan, and what happens inside the ring is determined off of my ability, the work that I put into it. I have nobody to blame or rely on but myself and my coach when it comes to forming the game plan.
Allow me to ask, attention span of a squirrel, so forgive me, I tell everybody this, but so how old were you when you started boxing?
So I started boxing in my 20s. That's the thing, I was late. So I started at 18.
Okay.
When I was still in high school. Got away from it for a few years, and then I started in my 20s. But I would like do self-trained stuff. I would go in my room and then to include when I was in the Army as well, and I would just practice basics. You know what I'm saying?
So the reason why I had asked in that format, did you do your very first fight? Sorry, your bout.
Yeah.
Your very first bout. Was that still when you were in 18, your 20s, or was it when you were in the latter age?
So though it was in my 20s. First bout was with Coach Khalil. It was probably in spring Spring Lake. Yes. Matter of fact, yeah. Okay. It was in Spring Lake.
Okay.
The rec center Spring Lake. I never forget it because I fought in like a wife beater, a tank top.
I got you.
Some like
old school. That's how they probably did it back then.
Some basketball shorts. And I actually fought in like Nike cross training shoes. Okay. I had one move. My patented move was like I lunge in, bounce out, and that's due to my athleticism. I was able to bounce in, bounce out, bounce in, bounce out, and I would just throw the right hand. That was like my only move. I won.
Okay, good. I was gonna get you in,
but I won, but I threw up in the bathroom because I've never physically exhausted myself
like that before.
Like that before. And then it was the nervousness, like fighting in front of people, which still gets me nervous to this day. But like fighting in front of people, and then just having an individual, because I'm also a midget. So like for my weight class, everybody's bigger than me, and you got another individual that legit wants to hurt you, So
you know what, you posed some really appreciate you.
Yeah.
So before your first bout, so how many weeks of training were you on? What was your training regime like? What was your what was your thought process like leading up to your very first match?
Yeah. So if anybody knows Coach Khalil, you won't even spar for like 3 months. Yeah, he's really big on mastering the basics or the fundamentals, to include, which he really focuses on footwork, and then like just mastering the basics of boxing before you start sparring. But I like that because it gives you like checkpoints, right? Like, hey, I gotta get this down before I can do this, before I can do that. So
what was the regime? Was it just running?
No. Yeah, so we got in there. We do a bunch of footwork drills.
Okay.
Mastering the jab, working on combinations, and then you have to show him, and also too, you got to do a lot of work on your own. And he also he checks your fitness. He'll take a look at like, how you started hitting the bag, and how what your output was, and then and he'll let you know you ain't working hard enough. You're not about to embarrass me. I'm not about to put you in there. You won't even get to the next level of sparring if you're not doing what you need to do as far as on the actual ground.
So it was like that.
Oh yeah. So when you get in there to sparring, when you start sparring, like okay, cool, I've done at least enough to get to this actual checkpoint. And then when you're in there, you're working on certain things. He was really big on, and I liked it because I sparred a bunch of different places. A lot of places, you just go in there and go for the kill. That's not what sparring is for. Sparring, you're supposed to be in there working on certain things, and I like that because the first time you spar, the first round, all you're doing is jabbing. Okay. That's it. Second round, he may let you throw the 1-2. Third round, 1-2, and then you can add an actual hook, Okay. So he's teaching you to gain confidence in your ability, to jab, and then he's teaching you how to put certain things together. So when I was ready for my first fight, and also too, we have some killers in that gym as well. So
allow me to ask this question before we lead up to the first fight. So he's having you go through all these fundamentals. So the question I have, right, was there make it make sense?
Yeah.
Doing all that training, like your first time sparring, or reaction training or whatever, did you? Since you trained for that long, did you remember the fundamentals, or did it? For some people, it goes out the window.
It does.
Okay,
Once you get, and this is one thing about sparring to this day, Coach Antonio will tell you, I like closed door sparring. Okay. So just me, you, if you and I are sparring, me, you, your coach. If there's other fighters there, cool, and that's it. Okay. I don't like a lot of outside people coming because once you get in the sparring, we gotta have a game plan. I put everything down on my phone. My game plan is like, I'm working the jab to the body.
Okay.
We get in there. You crack me one time,
Okay.
jab to the body goes out the window.
Okay.
Now I'm just trying to fight you, you know. And then you can add more to that when you got other people in there, ooh and an on, you know what I'm saying? Now you just in there trying to fight, and that's not what sparring is about.
So is this like, my bad?
No, you good.
Getting a little slow. Was this like the mentality during the match, or just the first time sparring?
First time sparring.
So here's my question on that, and this is just for any coach.
Yeah.
You know, but so why do they harp on the fundamental? Well, of course you need them, I get that.
Yeah.
But why would one harp on the fundamentals like that for 3 months if again you're gonna have like a mental block, or up here a block, like it goes out the window first time, like. Why do you think coaches harp on that, if that makes sense?
So the biggest thing about any sport, right? Got to teach you the foundation, so that way when something doesn't go quite right, you know. I can say, so if you go in there and you're boxing, and you don't do what I tell you to do, or you start getting caught up in the mix, I can say, hey, remember the jab. So if you never practiced it and never drilled it, you don't have anything to fall back on. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's very, very important to have an actual game plan and things that you're working on. So that way, if you get caught with something, or you start, you're not able to execute something, your coach is there to tell you, hey, we're working on a jab today, man. So get back to your jab. Exactly.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Because trust me, I mean, we're men, So when you get cracked, I'm a grown man. You hit me, I want to hit you back.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if we're working towards something, we gotta just stay disciplined, and you gotta be able to, okay, now I know next time, maybe let me just block it and then come back with my shot, catch it, come back with my shot, instead of just getting hit and then just doing whatever.
Might be misreading this, but you're a very strategic fighter, aren't you? Anyway, that's
I have to be, because that's the beautiful thing about boxing. It's like, which is why I love it. Boxing is a sport. It's not about being the fastest. It's not about being the strongest. It's not about being, about having the biggest chin, about having the biggest heart. A lot of it is like, having an actual plan, being disciplined, your fitness, and knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are. Because in boxing, like, I'm a shorter guy. So if you and I are competing, there's certain things I have to do, or fighting, there's certain things I have to do off the bat to amplify my strengths. You know what I'm saying? And counter your strengths.
So listening to you speak like that in that format, like, I legit think of chess. But anyway,
It's what it is.
So bringing it back, I apologize. We're gonna move forward. So went through that training regime. So leading up to the first fight, which we know won. Good job. Yeah, no one. Yeah. So, but like, what was your temperament like? Like, were you nervous? Did you think you were gonna lose? Did you? Oh, did you get a chance to study or see or engage with your opponent before, or was it like day one, okay, this is who I'm fighting type shit?
So amateur boxing, the thing that makes it so nerve-wracking is you don't know who you're fighting unless, depending upon your area, most of the time you don't know who you're fighting until you get there and you get matched up.
So you don't even give you enough time to give you enough time to study. My bad.
You don't. So you could be training with just right-hand fighters the whole time, and then when you get to the actual competition and you weigh in and they match you up, which is the day of in amateur boxing, you find out your guy's a left-hander.
Oh shit.
You know what I'm saying? Or you might get there and the guy you're going against he's a boxer, or a puncher, so he sits there and he's just trying to bang you out, but then, and that's all you may have in your actual gym is punchers, you know what I'm saying? But then you get there and you're going against a slick fighter, and now it's like,
shit.
So, you really can't have. It's good to have different styles of fighters in your gym. That helps, and then going to other gyms in the area and getting some work so you can become more, well rounded. And also too, I mean, that's what your coach is for. Your coach is there he should be having you work on different things, and just in case you need to pull that out of your actual your toolbox. But your coach should also be able to, whatever your actual strengths are, build on that. Because there's just certain things that certain people just cannot do. So if you don't have any punching power, it wouldn't be smart to be an actual slugger. You know what I'm saying?
Last question on the beginning part, then we're going to move forward. I got you. So again, won it, cool. Were the stats still the same? Your very first fight and his first fight, or was it like one of those? all right, he has 2 wins and 0 losses. This is your very first.
So amateur, they try to match you up based off of based off experience. So like if you have one fight, I think at most, and the coaches can actually agree to this too, depending upon how many fights the guy has before they match you up. So if you got one fight, they at most they probably match you up with somebody that maybe has like 2 or 3 fights. They wouldn't try to match you up with somebody that has like 4 or 5 fights and you have none. But to your back to your temperament question, yes, you are nervous.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be a fool to say if you're not, or you're lying if you say that you're not nervous. And then once you get in there, the adrenaline is amplified like threefold because you're fighting in front of people. You got somebody that really wants to hurt you, and then it's just, oh man, your adrenaline is going. So after like the first 30 seconds, it feels like 3 minutes. But then that's where you revert back to that's where you constantly your coach is there for. Calm down, get back to the fundamentals. If you had the opportunity to do some homework on the guy you're fighting, your coach says, hey, get back on. Hey, remember we drilled and whatever codes you guys have. If you have any codes, you guys speak in your hidden language, and then your coach is there to kind of
in training or at the ring, or both.
Or both.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, or both. And I like the way and Coach Antonio will tell you, I need to drill it, and that way when we get in the ring, hey, you tell me, hey, combo 1, combo 2, or hey, do this, do that, and that way I know exactly what to do. You know what I'm saying?
So moving forward, first bout you won. Was that the motivating factor for you to say like, hey, this is something, regardless of how much of on and off you did do of this sport, that very first W, did that motivate you to be like, yeah, no, I'm gonna stick with this because this is something that I'm good at and all that other stuff?
Just holding that. I felt you seen the Kobe Bryant meme and the Michael Jordan meme?
But they cried in their forehead. Okay.
That was me in the Spring Lake bathroom. That huge trophy. I still got it to this day. Mm-hmm. I'm just sitting there by the tool. I think I threw up too. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just so exhausted and it was a rush. I've never done. That's probably the closest thing to drugs I could think of. I was like, this high is crazy. I think I almost went to the club with that trophy.
Yeah. Cloud 9.
Oh, look, I was.
Nobody could tell you shit that day.
And also, it set me on a bad path because, like, I'm a midget. So, I go to the clubs and you couldn't tell. I'm a boxer, so I'm bumping dudes your size. You know what I'm saying? Getting you a little shit. But then I had to like calm myself down. And what boxing does, I know I can handle myself, so I don't need to be rah. You know what I'm saying? Or try to check dudes or walk around with my chest pumped out. But after that first win. And then there was so much room for improvement. Like I go back and I watch that and I'm like, I did not do anything. And there's so much room for improvement. Your confidence is through the roof. And then it's something that you accomplish on your own. I didn't have no teammates. There's no timeouts. You know what I'm saying? I got it in and got it in. And we were in there banging too. And got it done. So
for you, in a lot of ways, this was more of a solo sport.
Oh, yeah.
So damn, you posed some more questions. I hope I can get them out within this time limit. So how many bouts have you done total, if you don't mind me asking?
So amateur, I had like 20 something bouts just because of the deployments and training, training schedule.
You take any L's?
Amateur, you are. There's no, you are. I took, I think I lost three or four. I know I lost three or four times. I think I was like 16 and like 5 or something like that.
How did you? That's still pretty good stats, but
16 or 4, I think. Yeah.
But how did you handle that? Like, what was there a shift in how did you handle that?
Losing. One thing about amateur boxing, you know that you're going to lose. It's going to happen. However, it's how you lose. You know what I'm saying? If I lose, like, because the dude I've never gotten punished. Like, there's no individual. I've gotten punished in sparring, but I've never gotten punished
in the ring.
Never gotten punished in the ring. And in my losses in the ring, I lost to 2 dudes, and I got to actually avenge it. So the 2 of the dudes I lost to, I got to see them the next time. And
got your leg back, like, oh yeah, buddy, remember me? Yeah.
So so I have some things. There were some things to work on, and then in amateur boxing, it's just it happens, and then you just go back to the drawing board depending upon how you lost, and you have to have a short memory, or channel that toward making yourself better. And my losses were things that the dude ain't beat me because he had more heart than me. He ain't beat me because he was in better shape than me. He beat me because he was just I didn't do this right. I didn't do that right. So going back to the gym. All right, hey coach, what'd you see I do wrong? All right, bet. Let's work on that to get better.
Bear with me.
Yeah.
So let's hold on to all of
Yeah.
that. There's a question that I'm gonna ask, and everything. I'm gonna try to put all that with. So I asked Coach Antonio this, Busy, Kosha, Floyd Mayweather, right?
Greatest
So,
boxer of our generation.
well, yeah, but do you? And I'm gonna tell you why I asked this. Do you feel like he ruined the sport of boxing? And here's why I say that, right? Look at how many W's he has. He has a 0. He has 0 losses, right? And the question, the original, how I came up with that question, I was at work and a couple of peers of mine were saying, they were like, hey, pretty much any boxer today in pro, they take a L. Their career, as far as them being a boxer, promotion, whatever, getting that redeemed, it pretty much just goes down. You could have 29, 30, 31, but the day that you take that one L, it's like that boxer's career is over. So bringing it to that one circle before we go back, do you feel like with that, with that thinking, or do you think he did ruin the sport of boxing because of that?
Not ruin the sport, but it did have a negative effect on the sport, because now a lot of fighters are, nobody wants to lose. However, back in the day, there was nothing wrong with losing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You take that L, you get that rematch, or you go fight somebody else or whatever the case may be, but losing wasn't that bad. Also, another thing too is fans. UFC fans are better than boxing fans because they support their guy if he loses. If he loses, they still rock with him. They don't say he was exposed. They don't say he was a bum. Like, boxing fans are very fickle, Now with Floyd, yes, it did have an effect on the boxers nowadays, because every boxer financially in the business game aspires to be like to be like Floyd. There's the money he was able to generate, is next. There's nobody who can compare.
And he's
to
gonna be able to carry that probably for the rest of his life. Like, I have 0 losses.
Yeah. And a lot of fighters think that that's what they have to emulate. Also, the other thing too is promoters. Promoters have also fallen into that trap as well, because they won't allow their fighters to fight other fighters in their prime. They're trying to protect a lot of dudes' O's. And also too, when it comes to boxing and leverage, having that 0, being undefeated, gives you more leverage when it comes down, when you're sitting down to negotiate. But I just think that there's nothing wrong with losing. It depends on how some individuals gain fans from losing. Pitbull Cruz. If you go out there and you take a L, but you had a very good showing, you know what I'm saying? He's gained more fans. His loss to Tank Davis gained him a ton of fans. Hell, even Ryan Garcia, when he took that L to Tank, but he had a good showing, and so in some instances, if you lose, you can actually gain fans, and you're hurting the sport. And in some cases, a lot of these fighters are hurting themselves, because that big money fight that you can get, or those belts that you're trying to get, you're handcuffing yourself because you're afraid to lose. You're afraid to lose your.
So I forgot who said it, but pretty much, like, we see about today, and 9 times out of 10, we know who's gonna win. Like, somebody even said, like, hey, they're not gonna ever put 2 Vipers back in the ring like they did back in the day, like Mike Tyson days or even Muhammad Ali days. But again, not even the realm of sporting, but I feel like that also taints or pollutes the boxer itself. And the reason why I say that is because, again, in the old school days, 80s and 90s or whatever, you wanted to be the underdog or the top dog fighting another underdog or top dog. Now, and the only reason I'm saying all this, because you were talking about promotion and all that, it's kind of like, all right, okay, who are the fighters that are available? My guy can beat that guy. My guy can beat that guy. My guy cannot beat that guy, so we're going to skip over him. Yeah. Like, but I mean, but to each his own. I get the response to it, but like any boxer and even martial artists that's in the realm of boxing, I asked them that because, again, I'm not a boxer. I don't live in that realm. So I said, okay, let me talk to another boxer and get their mindset on it. So this circle and that circle of one we had discussed earlier and this one that we brought in, is that one, if I may, just respectfully, is that one of your fears moving forward in your boxing career? Like depending on the type of L that you take, it may take a major spiral, or do you feel like with the resilient, because I know a lot of other factors you have, resiliency level, promotion, and winning fights, or do you feel like that won't matter because of how boxing is today?
So how boxing, I would say this: nobody wants to lose.
Okay.
Nobody wants to lose. You don't ever go into a fight thinking that you're going to lose. But if you do lose, I haven't lost as a pro yet, but if you do lose, I just think it's going to suck for a little while, but if you can maybe get a rematch with that individual, go back to the drawing board, figure it out, and then just work your way back up there. And that was the mindset of the days of the older fighters.
Okay.
I take this L, and also it was a lot more streamlined and controlled. Nowadays, the sanctioning bodies. So if I'm case in point, if you're IBF, I'm WB, BC. I want to keep my belt in house.
Okay.
So I'm only going to let you fight the IBF fighters or IBF dudes that are under the IBF sanctioning body, and by doing so, you may have the best guy over here, you're the best guy over there, but we'll never fight because that requires your sanctioning body to get with my sanctioning body. Also, a lot of fighters today are making
real good time. I apologize.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah. A lot of the fighters nowadays are making way more money than they did in the past. So they're able to protect their own. They're making.
Do you think the money plays? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I thought of that. Do you?
Oh yeah. If I can make $2 million.
Okay.
Fighting a mid-level dude, never having to fight the guy that I think would possibly beat me, and I can continue to make $1 million. So Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvelous Marvin Hagler, they fought in the 80s. Okay. Right? I think Marvelous Marvin Hagler, after 60-something fights, his biggest payday was against Sugar Ray Leonard. After 60-something fights, and he had been the middleweight champion for like 10 years. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, you got dudes who are fighting, we'll say Devin Haney. He's probably not a good example, but there are fighters out there who they're good, but not great, but they're belt holders, and with the belt demands money, and they can make $1 million, $2 a fight. And then my thing is, why do I need to fight you over here if you could possibly beat me, but I can still make $2 million over here? Fighting you, yeah, I can make $5 million, but I can fight 3 dudes over here and make $6 million. And don't have to risk fighting you.
So from that way of thinking, this is just me, and I'm not.
And that's not all fighters. A lot of it too. Fighters want to fight each other. They do. Okay. But it's the promotion, and a lot of people don't understand. Fighters really don't call no shots. They don't.
So
fighters don't. And that's where people. There's only 2 fighters nowadays who call. Well, one fighter who calls his own shots. Okay. And that man's name is Canelo Alvarez. Don't nobody else call their own shots.
My bad. So the reason, and I think you already know what I was about to ask, but it seems like if that's the case, professional boxing is more of a business than a sport. Am I wrong?
All sports is a business, but that's where boxing gets hurt because in NCAA, it's seeding, and you guys got to play each other. Football, basketball, you have to play each other. Number 8 plays number 1. That's just how it goes. In boxing, the promoters run things, and a lot of these promoters are like, even though my guy, case in point, Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, been wanting to fight each other for years. There's a lot of fighters that want to fight the best guys, but their promotional companies or their promoters are like, and the managers are like, no. This is who you want to fight, because I have to protect, as a manager and promoter, I got to protect my best interest. Okay. So if I can keep that belt in house, I'll do that. And like I said, there's a lot of fighters who want to fight the best. There's a lot of fighters. More often than not, a lot of these guys want to be the best. But
regardless of the paper trail that's coming.
Okay. Regardless, there's some dudes who want, hey, I want that undisputed. I want to say I am the best. But the promoters and managers make it hard. And I tell people all the time, fighters don't really control their careers sometimes. In a large part, they don't. Okay. The promoters and managers run all of that. So the promoters and managers will say, you know what? Let's build it up, build it up, build. Back in the day, number one fought number two. Okay. Champion fought his mandatory.
Got you.
Nowadays, it's all about what's the sexy fight. So if I'm the champion and you're my man, you're my mandatory, but nobody knows who you are, I can give you step aside money. Here, take this $300,000. Step out the way so I can fight number 3, because that makes for a more marketable fight. That's also hurting the game as well. It's all about marketability, and that sucks because you could be that guy. You could be grinding for 10 years to be the mandatory.
We had 30 minutes.
To be the mandatory, and because you don't have a name, we'll skip by you.
So, Mr. Reese, it's 9:05. I know you said we have to cut it at 9:10. So I have a plethora of other of questions.
Definitely have to do this again.
Hey, allow me to bring you back to the channel. Grace me with this 2-part one question, then we'll cut it. What are some things you like about boxing, and what are some things you dislike about boxing?
So what I love about boxing is I love that it doesn't a lot. It boosts, man. There's so many things I can cover.
I got you.
We'll say what I've seen it do for the inner city youth.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Boxing's a sport that doesn't require a lot of equipment. Boxing's a sport that, and IQ knowledge. And I've seen it take individuals out of certain situations. Out of certain situations. But the other part about boxing I don't like is the politics, the politics behind it.
And pretty much what we just discussed. Okay.
And then you got to be careful. Boxing, you're only as good as your team, the individuals that you surround yourself with, because just like we tied to money, there's as many managers that want to protect their fighters, and there's other managers that are like, they just look at you as an actual dollar sign, and they'll feed you to whomever and watch your brains get beat in just so they can make it, just so they can make a buck. And I've seen that happen to people who are ignorant to the game, and sometimes you got to protect people from themselves. So, I mean, it's a phenomenal sport. And that just the confidence it builds in people, knowing how to, defend yourself, does something to you differently spiritually. And then it's a sport that, like, you ain't got to be 6'5". Basketball, I ain't got to be 6'5". I don't have to run a 4.2.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
so I'll say this and I'm gonna cut it right here. So thank you for coming to this channel. Thank you for telling your story to my audience. Allow me to bring you back. Yeah. But next time, hopefully I'll have a better location, more equipment. I want to do a round table about boxing, but coach, you, busy, coach, like everybody I've interviewed in this gym, because again, at the end of the day, y'all are just as fun. I see y'all. Yeah. They gonna see you too when I promote, but I see y'all. So allow me to bring your charismatic energy, your knowledge back to my channel. Other than that, thank you so much.
Hey, brother, I appreciate it.
Bring you back, I promise,
appreciate it. Definitely. We definitely got to do this again.